Let's look ahead at the Spurs at NBA All-Star Weekend. Give our thoughts on the Rodeo Road Trip, at least the first half, and then have some fun.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertronic Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I am your host, Jeff Garcia. Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Happy Friday, TGIF, everybody. And I hope you're having a great end of your work week and start of your weekend. And as always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. You guys are the everydayers. Find us on Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. The list goes on and on. Hey, what are we talking about today? We're going to be, well, at least I'm going to try to catch you up on the quick information you need to know how and where and who will be representing the Silver and Black at NBA All-Star Weekend. Then bring in our guest, Casey Viera, my colleague at Ken's 5. We're going to look back at the first half of the Rodeo Road Trip. Then we're going to have some fun. If we could pick one player from the current roster to go to the NBA three-point shootout and slam dunk contest, who will that be? Quick note, as you all know, Casey is in parent mode, dad mode, so he can only do audio only. So after this segment, it'll be an audio only show for the rest of the way. But your Spurs will be well represented at the NBA All-Star Weekend. Here's the information you need to know: who and where and what channel and all that good stuff you want to catch your Spurs in action at Indianapolis for the All-Star Game 2024. So 3 Spurs will be there: Wemby, Sochan, and Barlow. Let's start off with Wemby and Sochan. So they'll be at the Rising Stars game. They'll be going head-to-head. That'll be Friday today at 8 Central, 9 Eastern on TNT. Now, Wemby will be playing for Team Pau Gasol. Sochan, who was a late addition, injury replacement for Blazer Sharp, he'll be suiting up for Team Jalen Rose. Now, it's a 3-game mini tournament. It's among rookies, G League players, sophomores. Now, Wemby will be on the rookie squad, Pau Gasol, and Sochan will be on Rose's squad, which is a mix of sophomores and G League players. Now, for Sochan, this is the second consecutive time he'll be making it, and Wemby overall is the 11th player in Spurs history to be selected to the All-Star event. So, yeah, it'll be good to see, especially Sochan and Wemby. They have to go one-on-one or defend each other throughout the game. Should be a fun event. Now, Wemby isn't done. He'll be then taking part in the NBA Skills Challenge. Now, that's going to be on Saturday, February 17th, tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central on TNT. Now, he'll be teaming up with top picks Anthony Edwards and Paolo Banchero on one side. Now, Wemby did say when he was picked that he's not going to practice for this event. Hopefully that doesn't spell doom and gloom for him, and he has a good showing at the event. But he did reiterate that he wished that he was selected to the All-Star squad at Sunday game. He thought that would have been a great achievement for him in just his rookie year. So, that'll be fun to watch. So Wemby will be busy. I'm pretty sure he'll be making a lot of pit stops along the way, appearances, and whatnot. Now, what about Dom Barlow? Yeah, he'll be participating in the G League's Next Up game. That'll be on Sunday, February 18th at 12:30 Central. Now, you can only catch that on NBAGleague.com, and he'll be on Team Strictly. Yeah, apparently that's an influencer. That's the name of an influencer, Team Strictly. Now, I had a chance to catch up with Dom Barlow before he headed out to Indianapolis. He said he was excited about going to the All-Star game, and he watched it as a kid growing up. Interesting to know, he told me that just even as a fan or just a player, sometimes players just go to the event, that he's never, ever been to an All-Star event. So this will be his first time, first time overall. So that'll be great. Now, he definitely earned the spot. During the Austin Spurs Showcase Cup tournament, he averaged 25 points, 2 assists, 1.1 blocks, 7.8 rebounds in 12 games. This will also be kind of a mini tournament. There'll be 4 teams. Winner of each semifinal will then face off in a championship game. So there you have it. 3 Spurs representing the city of San Antonio on the silver and black. Should be a fun weekend. All right, coming up next, we have Casey Viera We're going to be discussing the first half of the Rodeo Road Trip, then have some fun with All-Star Weekend events. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. Let's see who Josh picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Pick of the Week. This week he picked Marvin Bagley III. Bagley is Washington's likely starting center after the Daniel Gafford trade to Dallas and is worth grabbing for fantasy league. So he picked Marvin Bagley III. Hey, look, Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship. And eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being the right fit, the perfect fit, same for your vehicle. Look, you have a dream ride, you want to keep it going. You have a memory of a car you loved and you got it back and you need parts for it. Or just what about just having that experience of just buying a new car and then looking for how to upgrade it? Well, luckily for you, eBay Motors is there. So with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. You want brake kits? They got it. LED headlights? Got it. Roof racks? Got it. Bumpers? eBay Motors has it. Whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're going to be burning rubber, not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Now, eBay's Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, this is Chris Sabat, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by my colleague at Ken's 5 San Antonio. He is Casey Viera. We missed you here, Casey.
I feel like, I don't want to say I haven't been around, and I think every time I go more than 2 weeks without being on the show, I say this, which I'm pretty sure I probably said the last time, because I think it was probably 2 weeks since I've been on the show. It's always, I feel like I haven't been forever, but then it's only like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right, exactly, yeah. But as always, everybody, as you know, Casey's a new dad, so he has to do audio only. Dad duties catching up with him, but he is here. It's all that matters, and we're going to be talking silver and black. Later on the show, Casey's going to be discussing with us what is going on in San Antonio sports because the NFL season is all but over, Casey. So now what? Spurs? But do you really want to go there?
I'm trying to figure that out too. Exactly. All right. Well, this year.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That's good. You got that.
Yeah. There is that. All right. Well, that's coming up later in the show. But up first, we're going to be looking back at the first half of the Spurs Rodeo Road Trip. Pros, cons, what stands out, what doesn't stand out, what about some individual players? Casey, looking back at the first 5 games, they're 1-4, by the way, everybody. What do you dislike about the start of the Rodeo Road Trip?
I think it's gone just about the way you'd expect. Not particularly great, but have your moments where it does look good. Mm-hmm. For me, I mean, the Toronto game, of course, is the highlight for the fact that that's probably the first time all year they've looked dominant, at least to that degree. I mean, I could probably look back, but thinking fresh off the top of my head, I can't think of a time they looked as consistently dominant from start to finish. The Mavericks game, though, for me was interesting because it started so well, and it felt like it was just like a microcosm of how the season has gone, because sometimes they have these stretches where you're like, oh, okay, you know what? They look good. They might be turning the corner here. It's a play to like this like we're looking at this team and we're saying, okay, when they got things going, they can compete. This is not an 11-win team. They look like they got the pieces falling into place. And then all it takes is a halftime break, and there goes the neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood. But that first half against the Mavericks game, they did play largely pretty well. But in the second half, I mean,
Yeah,
they
forget
largely
about it.
played
Well,
horribly.
it actually started in the second quarter, because the second quarter
Yeah.
the Spurs got outshot. Well, outscored 30 plus points to Dallas, and then they only scored about 17, 19 points San Antonio.
But it really,
But
second half, what I mean is when it really
yeah,
escalated out of hand. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well, when I look back at the first half of the RRT, I say, you know what? Sure. It's funny you saw the Mavericks game, kind of, as you said, as kind of like a summation of the season. And I look at that Toronto game, and to me, that's my summation of the season is, wow, this team, there's no way they can be an 11-win team right now. There's no way. If they're cooking, Casey, they're cooking. And if Wemby is on his game and Devin is there and everybody's contributing, you have Sohan defending Scotty Barnes and scoring as well. Trey Jones, double-figure assist. Keldon Johnson coming off that bench, 20-plus points. I mean, maybe Vassell isn't wrong, because after the game, he spoke with media saying, if this team is going, this team can compete with anybody. And it was just frustrating for me, is because, like, why, okay, well, who knows? Maybe Toronto was throwing the game, Casey. I can see why they would do it for that draft pick. But man, you're like, you're Spurs, okay, fine, you're not there yet. But in order, that game and the Rodeo Road Trip made me think about, Casey, is what if they were to run it back? What if all this team really needs is just a full season together, and that's about it, and we're cooking? But then I go look at the Dallas game, and then I say, well, star power, Dallas has it, Spurs don't, outside of Wemby. So it's just so frustrating to see this team.
The crazy thing is if you say that, there's probably a realistic chance that happens.
Oh, running it back?
Yeah.
You know how many fans will be flipping tables if that happens?
They'd be livid. Fan base would be livid. Especially with all this Trae Young chatter that's been coming about.
Yeah.
Fan base would be livid.
Yeah.
There's a chance of it. I mean, I don't know how one could say there's not, but
yeah,
I guess that's a conversation for a different day.
Well, we kind of had that conversation yesterday on Locked On Spurs, but it just, I just said yesterday that I would not be surprised if they were to pull that, run it back.
Who was, just out of curiosity, who was it yesterday?
Jimenez, everybody's favorite guy. Yeah. No, but he was
that's a much better. You know what? I would have saved that topic for him instead of me too. Yeah.
Okay, bro, let's push that outside. But another thing that stands out for me is this. These are pro athletes, right? Pro basketball players. They should be able to know how to shoot, right? They shoot themselves in the foot, literally and figuratively. 10 for 40 was it against from the 3 line versus Dallas? They shot 30-something% only for the entire game. And that's not just the first time that happened against Dallas. In earlier games in the Rodeo Road Trip, you saw it repeat itself. It's like, if they lose, Casey, you can pretty much script what everybody's going to say afterwards. It's, we got beat, we can't shoot, but man, there's good stuff coming from these young guys. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Been that way for 2 years now.
God.
Has it not?
I mean, it really has. I mean, you look at the last 5 games, which is the Rodeo Road Trip start, they're attempting 35 3 shots. They're only making 11. That's good for 31%. And then, the only bright line in this, 2 things for me is Wemby. He looks like he busted through the rookie wall, because, my God, he got smacked in the face, didn't he, with that rookie wall, Casey?
He hit it hard. I felt like that kind of flew under the radar. The team being so bad kind of bailed him out from I don't want to say criticism, but the optics of him really hitting that wall, because he did hit it hard, but everybody was so focused on the fact that the team's not good. I kind of got a pass.
Yeah.
He did a sweet dunk and a sweet block. Let's take away from the fact that Nick Claxton outbodied him in Brooklyn, things like that, But
exactly.
He had a sweet pass and dunk. That's all we care about.
Yeah, but I mean, look, he did rebound pretty well, with a triple double during the first half of the Rodeo Road Trip. joining the likes, with the block. So he joins the likes of Robinson and Dream Olajuwon. So good company there.
Yeah, he's
But
fine. I'm not worried.
yeah, he's fine. And, I look back at the first 5 of the Rodeo Road Trip, and it's just, I shouldn't be surprised that they're 1-4 to start it, but I am surprised at the same time because I'm thinking, okay, we're here at the midway point of the season. You guys gotta start clicking, at least find something, some sign of progress. Okay, maybe you don't win, but hey, look at you guys. You were hanging in there for at least 3.5 quarters, something. But it just feels like they've plateaued, where I don't see them getting any better collectively. Maybe individually they do, but collectively it just feels like they're stalled. Casey, your thoughts?
That is very accurate.
Yeah.
That is, and I didn't think about it because I've kind of been one of these people. What game was it? Maybe it was after Minnesota. One of the games, it was one of their better wins of the season, and you had me on, and I felt like, I think it was the Minnesota game.
Yeah.
Where they won that game, that wild game down the stretch. Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking to myself, okay, they're not going to turn around and make the postseason here, make the play in or anything like that. But it feels like these things are starting to click a little bit more. And I would not be surprised if we see them play better collective basketball the rest of the way. And then they subsequently go out the next day against Washington and play one of the dumbest fourth quarters you'll ever see. So I'm right there with you on that front, that I think this is probably what it is. I mean, we're 2/3 of the way through the season. I'd say it's plateaued. Probably. Yeah, well, we have a couple more flashes here and there that'll have opposing the conversation of whether or not they've turned the corner. Or there's only so many corners left to turn when there's 30 games left in the year. We're running out of corners to turn here, guys. But yeah, I think the idea that they plateaued is pretty fair to say.
Yeah,
it's pretty fair to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and as much, look, Devin Vassell in the last few games during the Rodeo Road Trip, and even maybe a little bit before, really has been coming on. Stringing games of double-figure scoring. And Popovich was heaping praise on him, saying that he has taken the next step in his development on the court. But then you got a game like Dallas, and okay, fine. I don't expect these athletes, and they're human. They're going to have bad nights. Everybody does, but it just feels like, okay, Devin, are we going back to that route? Or are we going to start being inconsistent after you were consistent? And then we got to talk about Keldon Johnson. I mean, did he show up to the game in Dallas, Casey? I mean, it was bad. It was pretty bad. And that's your highest paid Spur right now, Casey.
Yeah, there's a couple stretches. I know Luka gets the better of just about everybody, but man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say Keldon Johnson stayed in Dallas, but I don't. No, he was never. Where were they before that? They were in Toronto. Yeah, Keldon Johnson never left. Keldon Johnson never left the country of Toronto. That's where Keldon was.
Yeah,
wasn't.
So as much as there might be some ups, but there's just too many downs. Whether individually, you have Keldon with the stinker over in Dallas. Devin playing really well, and then he kind of trails off a bit. Wemby's playing great, after breaking through the rookie wall, and then collectively this team, was just getting beat. And I look at the first half of the Rodeo Road Trip, Casey, and I'm saying, okay, there's got to be something good. I mean, there's got to be something positive. I was actually stunned by this. Maybe you might not be. Right now, as we record this show, the Spurs are the second best team as far as the facilitating assists. They average about 29 per game. And you're thinking, okay, where everybody's sharing the ball. Okay, yay, that's good. Way to go, Spurs. And by the way, in the last 5 of the Rodeo Road Trip, they are averaging about 29 assists per game. But then you look at the turnovers. They're averaging 15 turnovers in the last 5. So they're not helping themselves. They're shooting themselves. They're turning the ball over. They're not connecting on their threes. Should we chalk this up to a win, Casey? Their plus minus point differential is a minus 9.6. So, yay, they're not getting beat bad, Casey.
We're really digging here.
There we are.
We're really digging here. Like I said, we're running out of corners to turn. We're running out of holes, real estate to keep digging in.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that, Spurs fans. They're not getting beaten, blown out in the last 5, but it's still just difficult to swallow to see these games. And some of these games were winnable. There's some of these games, okay, fine. Kyrie and Luka, what are you gonna do? They probably do that to every team. But yeah, it's just yeesh. Like, and I was so optimistic about this Rodeo Road Trip. I thought, okay, this is it. They're going to turn that corner. This is it. The magical elixir that is the Rodeo Road Trip that gets everybody grooving and everybody going. And nope, 1-4. So yeah. I mean, yay. Maybe this is a good sign then, Casey. Yay, draft lottery odds. How about that?
Wow, isn't that a common theme that we've heard for 2.5 years now?
My God, has it really been that long, Casey? Has it been that long?
Feels that way.
Okay. Before we go to the next segment, okay, give me one good thing that you like out of the last 5 to start the Rodeo Road Trip, and it can't be Wemby.
Oh, damn. Devin Vassell had that cool pass in the Toronto game.
There you go. Look at Casey.
There it is.
Positive right there. Yeah, by the way, that was a slick pass, by the way. It is funny, too. You look at the Rodeo Road Trip, and I'm like, okay, just, Spurs, maybe you do want to lose against Toronto. And then they would win against the team that they need to lose. You know what I'm get at? They didn't help themselves.
Man, Toronto traded Siakam, and they went into, like, full tank commander mode over there, man. Yeah. Scotty Barnes still an all-star, though. Hey,
that he is,
got his flowers.
That is, yeah. So, Spurs are 1-4 to start the Rodeo Road Trip. They'll off for quite some time. They won't be back till February 22nd, but on the second half of the Rodeo Road Trip, they'll be going to Sacramento. Still some days away before they return to San Antonio. But hey, at least the Rodeo Road Trip is over, Casey. The season pretty much is over. There's that.
Yep.
20-something games after it's over. So long off season ahead. But hey, some
they
Spurs.
Have that, they got that 3. They're home for 2, and then they got to go back on the road again. They always get them every year with that, don't they? It's like they come back home after the road trip for a cup of coffee, and then it's
then they take off again.
Yeah, but then it's 3 games on the road. Do a short Cali trip.
Yeah, and then they say, okay, you come back, but then you go to Austin. You don't go to San Antonio. You go to Austin for the next 2 games. Yeah, but there it is. Your Spurs, again, are 1-4 to start their Rodeo Road Trip at the Rodeo Road Trip break / All-Star break. Not looking good. Again, some quick numbers here for those into all that. The Spurs are shooting 44% to start the Rodeo Road Trip, 31% from the 3 line, and averaging 7.6 steals. That's pretty interesting. But, again, turnovers. 15 turnovers per game. So they cannot do that, especially for a young team. When we get back, we're going to be having some fun with the All-Star break upon us. And look, the Spurs don't have any representation at the 3-point shooting contest nor the dunk contest. So we're going to have fun. I'm going to ask Casey which 2 Spurs he would send to those events out in Indiana. That's next on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk to you about Robinhood. Do you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood is the only IRA that gives you 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started right now at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal information. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. I also want to talk to you about Mudslinger's drive-through coffee. You want to go to Mudslinger's right now, San Antonio. Just go to 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281 to 1604 area. If you need a latte, they got it. You need a caffeine pick-me-up, like their signature drink, the Mudslinger, they got it. You just need a caffeine pick-me-up overall. They have the drink for you. Dairy alternatives, the Red Bull Infused Lightning Bolt series, signature drinks like the Mudslingers and the OG OJ. They have it all only at Mudslinger's drive-through coffee. Friendly staff. They got mini donuts. I mean, what more do you need? Rush right now, San Antonio. Go to Mudslinger's drive-through coffee, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Look, if you just want a company, like a coffee company, that is caring about the San Antonio community, that cares about helping everybody out in this community, you want to go to Mudslinger's drive-through coffee. They are so friendly. They're active on social media. Find them on X, Facebook, Threads, TikTok. Pick a platform. They are there at Mudslinger, SATX. That's all one word. Go to Mudslinger's drive-through coffee right now, San Antonio. Look, so many positive reviews. Everybody goes there to get their caffeine pick-me-up. And even if you don't need a caffeine pick-me-up, you need something lighter or not so edgy, they'll have that drink for you as well. Go to Mudslinger's drive-through coffee, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, 281 to 1604, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now. Why? Because life is too short for bland coffee. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with my good friend Casey Viera. Make sure to follow him on X at Casey_Viera. He's the Ken's 5 sports desk guy every weekend and living that dad life. And you're loving it, aren't you?
Loving every bit of it. Every bit of it.
How is Mr. Carter, by the way?
Oh, he's fantastic. He is your model citizen for almost 3 months old.
He's gonna wake up one day and say, "You know what? I've given this girl enough comfort time. It's time to rock and roll."
Hey man, we're in the middle window of his 30-minute naps. Put him down right before we started here because he sleeps only 30 minutes at a time, it would appear. So no, we're heading down the home stretch. So I need you to hurry up here so I can go attend to him.
Let's wrap this up. As you heard, Keith has dad duties right now. All right. So the Spurs will have some representation in Indiana for the All-Star break. Wemby and Don Barlow and Jeremy Sohan, they'll be out there for the Rising Stars game and Don Barlow for the G League All-Star game. But there'll be no representation for the Spurs at the slam dunk contest or the three-point shootout. So we're going to have some fun here. If we can send a representative to those two events, who would it be? Casey, you're up first. Who would you send to the three-point shootout from the roster?
Who would I send to the three-point shootout? I want Sohan going, man.
Yeah.
I want Sohan going because if I'm going there, I'm going for the entertainment value. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy Sohan, for better and for worse, has offered nothing short of entertainment this year. Nothing short of entertainment, whatever it is. Again, for better, for worse, whether he does something that wows you, whether he does something that makes you say, how is this guy in the league? Whether he goes tumbling into his stands like a cartoon character with his feet up in the air, eating popcorn off his shoulder. I want Jeremy Sohan in the three-point shootout. Yeah. I don't know if it would be good because he's actually shot reasonably well on the catch and shoot this year. So it might turn out well. It might turn out with like that meme with the guy who's just launching the three backward. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It might be one of the two. But you know what? If I'm going, I will want to go to be entertained, and Jeremy Sohan will entertain me. Dunk contest. This is someone who actually has surprised me in recent weeks, but mainly because he's caught a couple bodies the past few weeks, is Blake Wesley.
Oh, yes.
Blake Wesley. I've been pleasantly surprised by I don't want to say his ability to get up, but I didn't realize what's the Shaq meme that says I wasn't familiar with your game?
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that's.
I was not familiar with Blake Wesley's game to get up like that. So I'm seeing him like, okay, you're not as small as Nate Robinson, but I like seeing point guards win the dunk contest. Let's go, let's do it. So
absolutely, yeah.
So Sohan 3-point shootout, Blake Wesley dunk contest.
I would want to send Wemby to the dunk contest just for the freak show that it would probably be. Just
Yeah. See,
wow,
I
he's
was gonna say that, but I don't know if Wemby would be like a good dunker because he's still like that, and I say this very loosely in the term of goofy, but he still has like that kind of goofy, lanky kid kind of.
he does.
You know what I mean? So so I don't really know if it would be good I mean, everything we see is Wemby is obviously a freak show. But
Yeah, exactly.
You know the point that I'm getting.
I get it. Yeah. For me, I again Wemby because pregame he does every once in a while he'll put on like kind of a fancy, cool dunk. You would see.
Yeah.
If anything, I would just to see his stride, just how far away does he have to jump to get to the rim?
I think that's
Yeah.
probably what would win it for him, where he could take off from.
Exactly. And you utilize that length. Yeah. And for the
Yeah.
3-point shootout, would it be kind of funny or maybe sad if I say Zach Collins? Can you imagine?
No, I don't know, man. That's the guy who went from. He's had quite the character arc for this team this season because he went from fan favorite to how is this guy employed
Whipping
for
boy.
our team with this fan base. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
But
again a conversation for another day.
But if anything, I would say, I'll just send Keldon though. Okay, Keldon, think of it as practice. Just go practice. We need you out there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's been deceptive. There's some times out of nowhere where he does some. You watch him play, you're like, oh, he's just kind of that Desmond Bain kind of walking muscle build type of deal. But then there was that Bucks game where he had like this ridiculous up and under layup followed by like this ridiculous up and under dunk.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Exactly.
At least I was, but at least I was.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about the first half of the Rodeo Road Trip? 1-4. Any bright spots? Or are you just all bad and doom and gloom? And also, who would you send to the All-Star break events, slam dunk contest, 3-point shootout from the current Spurs roster? You can let Casey know on X at Casey_Viera. Casey, what's going on with Ken's 5?
We're finding stuff to talk about. I'm trying to find stuff to talk about, I should say, like we were saying at the start. Because the Spurs we only have so many more weeks that they can offer that for us.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. So we're trying to dig for that. I know our high school hoops teams are very good, especially on the girls' side. It's looking like Clark's got a realistic chance of repeating with Ariana Roberson over there, going to Duke, sister of former NBA player Andre Roberson.
There it is.
She's been fantastic this year. We got another one from Brandeis girl, Ryan Forstier. She's going to USC. Dropped 62 in a game earlier this year.
Is she related to that former Spurs assistant coach, Chad Forcier?
No. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe so. So I lost my train of thought now.
No. So high school.
So
sports,
yeah. So
the
high school hoops, especially on the girls' side.
Yeah.
There's some players this year. There's probably more notable players on the girls' side this year than the boys' side, mainly because the two of them.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, Robertson. She's been. Oh, I should say that both sides. They've been good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's at least what's holding it down for the time being until we go on the draft. That's a real.
There you go. Yeah.
Real selling point.
And watch the Spurs trade out of the draft and nothing happens. So there's that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's room for Derek White in the playoffs, too. Hey.
There's that. Yeah. Okay. Well, He is Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. And thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every day. We'll be back next week. More Spurs talk, more stuff. How did, the guys are doing, anybody developing, all that good stuff next week. And subscribe to Locked On Sports today, 24 hours streaming YouTube channel. Regional, local, and all the guys. We're all there. Every league, everybody's represented on the Locked On Sports YouTube show, 24/7 streaming channel. So for Casey Viera, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.